Welcome to the Name Game. Workout number 194 is Just Do the Thing. The workout is 4 time and does not have a time cap. Start with 5 rounds of 6 strict ring pull-ups and 6 overhead squats at 165/115. Immediately into 5 rounds of 12 overhead squats at 95/65 and 12 handstand push-ups.
CrossFit.
And we're off. So, this is Day's workout that she wrote and Chris's athlete. So, Chris, why don't you introduce us?
This is Rachel. Rachel has been my client on and off now for a while. Currently on.
That's good.
So Rachel owns a gym, Terrain Fitness, in Wayne, New Jersey. So she kind of almost does a little bit of a hybrid program. So as an athlete, her biggest area of improvement is like upper body pulling gymnastics. So bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups, stuff like that.
Strict pull-ups.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much what we work on. Obviously, we work in weightlifting and other stuff too. But because she's a gym owner, she likes to take class 1 to 2 days a week in some capacity in order to stay connected to the community at her gym. So fortunately for me, because it's not often you're able to do that, but fortunately for me, she writes all the programming for her gym. So it's really easy for her to be like, all right, here's what Monday and Thursday look like. And I kind of manipulate things off of that. But she's also someone who really likes overhead squats and handstand push-ups. So you thought she could be a good person to kind of test this workout out.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Day and I went kind of back and forth on what the specifics of this workout were going to be quite a bit. Because she had wrote, it was all the same movements, including the strict ring pull-up. And it was just kind of like, it was more volume and strict pulling originally, and we kind of backed that down so people could move a little bit quicker. And now we ended up doing a kipping handstand push-up, which originally was going to be strict in the second half, so people could kind of put the hammer down and move a little bit quicker through the second part, and it'd be a little bit more of a like strength limited for the first part, and then more so capacity on part 2.
Yeah, that's definitely what Rachel got out of this workout. She left me.
Yeah, she left me some notes, right?
She did.
Maybe we should start
She's
doing
good.
that because this is sweet.
Yeah, so she left me some notes. And so strategy-wise, she said she knew she needed to pace it from the beginning. She was a little intimidated by the weight of or intimidated by the heavy overhead squats and just the rep volume of everything involved. So she's like, all right, I just need to move like pretty easy in the beginning. It's almost like, you know, those open workouts, Ben, where it's like it's long and grindy. So you're like, I have to come out at a pace that almost feels too slow in the beginting.
Yes,
and kind of fight against that because it's gonna get too fast at the end, basically. So that was kind of like her mentality there, especially because again, I touched on it. Upper body pulling gymnastics is something we've worked on. Now she's got, obviously, as you can tell, especially as far as women go, pretty good strict strength. But we're working on skill work in the dynamic movements like a bar up, muscle up, or ring muscle up. However, she kind of approached this like, all right, I'm going to try to go 3 and 3 on the ring pull-ups, and even then was like, no, this is too much. So she had to go 2, 2, and 2, which slowed her down a lot. But then when she got to the second part, she said she kind of sprinted a little bit more, but was breaking up the overhead squats to save her shoulders for the handstand push-ups.
Yeah, and that's sort of the interesting thing is like you're not going to intentionally necessarily break the first part just because it's like once you get the bar up there in the overhead squat, you're like, I want to hold on to this as long as I can. Maybe you're forced to, but like you're probably not going to intentionally break. Whereas like in the second part, you might have to be a little bit more strategic about how you go about your overhead squats just so that you can keep moving through the handstand push-ups unless you're somebody who's got pretty good capacity on that one.
Yeah, especially because if you think about it, right, the first two movements are pretty antagonistic, right? Like you have a squat, although a lot of it is upper body stability, but you can kind of think of it from an upper body standpoint as a pressing movement, theoretically, like an overhead, like an upper body push. So you have a squat and upper body push combined with an upper body pull. So they kind of like work in tandem. You're not doing the same movement pattern necessarily, or the same muscle groups in a certain way. Whereas the overhead squat and the handstand push-ups are very much the same, or very similar. And so you're kind of fatiguing the same muscle groups, the same movement patterns there. And so it's like, okay, I have to make sure I kind of break these effectively to keep moving. Otherwise you end up just like, you know, hunched over, trying to get some life into your arms because they're so tired, you know?
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I commend her for taking on a workout. I mean, a lot of people, they see a workout that's not necessarily in their wheelhouse and they shy away from doing it, let alone filming it. So I'll give her credit for letting us do this. I mean, we kind of talked about this before with Riley when she had done one. I was like, you know, you can't really be afraid to put yourself out there because you're going to have to do that when it actually comes time to compete and it's actually on the line, like submitting scores, uploading videos, like doing the thing. So like as a CrossFit athlete, even if you're someone who maybe isn't even like proud of your performance on a particular workout, still posting it, still commenting with your time or your score, I think is a good practice, because ultimately these are practice and like it's just an opportunity to refine your craft, whereas it will matter and you'll be glad that you got some reps in and of just submitting things that you're maybe not the most proud of your performance on.
Yeah, and that was something Rachel and I spoke about, because honestly, looking at this workout with her as an athlete, 3 of the 4 movements, and really I say 3, but one of them is like the same, right? It's an overhead squat just at 2 different weights. Like some of those movements are like good movements for her, right? But she hasn't been conditioning as much lately. Again, like just kind of being a gym owner sometimes. I mean, you know, it's like sometimes what you can get in ebbs and flows a little bit. So I was kind of like, listen, you know, I'm just going to throw this your way. You could do it if you want. She's like, nah, I'm in. So yeah, credit to her for taking it on and doing it for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is almost one of those workouts, like typically in CrossFit, we don't see a difference between males and females for like gymnastics movements. Like it's, you know, we've never seen something like that in, as far as I know, like the game season. It's always like, you know, 25 toe to bar, doesn't matter if you're male or female. And generally I, you know, think that's okay. And in some competitions you'll see, like, for example, like Mekon Rush, they had legless rope climbs and rope climbs each round. It had, like, for me it was 2 legless, 2 regular, and for the females it was 1 legless, 2 regular, or 1 legless, 3 regular, I think. Anyway, this is almost one of those workouts where there is almost significant enough of a difference where you could probably justify making a little difference, maybe like, you know, 7.5 or something, male to female.
Yeah, that's usually where you'll see, from a gymnastics standpoint, that's usually where you'll see maybe a difference is those strict reps. Like, I don't know if they did or didn't, but for some reason I feel like they did. The one set regionals here, they had a strict knee, I think it was. I think the men and women had different reps for the strict ring muscle ups. I could be wrong on that. But
that would make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, like for legless rope climbs or
strict deficit handstand push-ups, stuff like that.
Yeah, they'll usually the deficits are usually a little bit different.
Handstand push-ups, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see some slight changes there.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's almost like when they have a deficit, it's almost similar to like loadings, where you'll see like the females, or like box jumps, where it's like females will use like 70% of the height of the males, for example.
Yeah,
interesting.
So we're in the second part here, and you saw her break. Like I said, she did that on purpose, given the next movement. Again, she's someone who's a good squatter in both movement and speed, and so It's like you're only putting that bar down, like you said, to save your shoulders for the handstand push-ups. And the only reason why you wouldn't be is if you're like your shoulder endurance and capacity is like really, really strong.
Yeah. And for some people, especially high level males, like the kipping handstand push-up is just frankly just a pretty easy movement for them.
Yeah.
And that way they'll just hang on for the overhead squats because they're not worried about having to break the handstand push-ups. Or if they do, they just recharge so quickly that it's not really that poses much of a threat to blowing up in the workout. Like you're not going to get to the point of failure and stay there like you would for like a strict deficit or something.
Yeah. Even for someone like you, I feel like you're probably going to do all those handstand push-up sets unbroken, or, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if you have to break, it's probably going to be on the handstand push-ups versus the overhead squats.
Yeah. Yep. Once I pick up that bar, I'm not going to set it down for the overhead squats.
Yeah.
Mainly just because like I don't want to have to snatch it again.
Exactly.
Whereas like the handstand push-up, if you're getting to the point of failure, like it doesn't take much time to kick down, kick off, kick back up.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I'll say about the strict ring pull-up is that like those hang gymnastics generally are very inexpensive to break. Like you have to jump 4 inches to get back to your apparatus. And that's the extent of the energy that you use to get back into it. Where the handstand push-up, you have to at least kick off the wall and then kick back up, which it's not a lot, but it's some amount of work. And for the overhead squats, obviously you're gonna have to snatch it a whole nother time. So usually think about how often or how aggressively I'll hold on to things based on like what the buy-in is to get back to the required reps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see her upper body's getting pretty tired here. Anytime you're resting on your head and kind of like, kind of composing yourself before the next kip, your shoulders or triceps are pretty shot.
Yeah. Did you ever do that much? Rest on your head?
Back in the day, I feel like you probably have some stories about this. When I first started, was early in CrossFit, you get some tips from people, right? And it's like, rest on your head was one that I got one time.
Really?
Yeah, when I got it, it was, remember that open workout, the 55 deadlifts? Yes. And so it ended with the 55 handstand push-ups. He's like, you don't want to come down, this one dude. And he's like, you can rest on your head.
This is like the worst advice.
And I was like, okay. Bro, I couldn't breathe. My diaphragm was so compressed. My blood is just rushing to my head. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid.
Oh, gosh.
But it's like, people do it. People have done it long. It was like the Wild West. It's like one time I had another open workout. The 27, 21, 15, 9, I think it was 6'3", the row thruster workout. Were you doing CrossFit at that point in time?
I think that was, what, was that 2015?
Yeah,
so
I think it was.
That was a little before I started.
Okay. But it's still probably the worst workout. I couldn't see straight. I'll never forget the woman who ran the gym I was at the time. Again, I'm super new. Like, she's like, okay, you gotta, and I'm just starting to get like the stuff, like the CrossFit stuff. And so she's like, wear your lifters and you should wear your knee sleeves so your knees are nice and warm for the workout. And I was like, brand new knee sleeves, mind you. So I was like, all right, they're brand new. But I lost circulation to like my feet. Like,
maybe a little tight.
Legit. Well, they were
I don't think either of those are bad recommendations.
They were literally brand new. And so like they're not great because I'm so toesy at that point that literally my quads got pumped so much on even the row that my feet started to tingle. And so I'm like, my feet are tingling.
No circulation at all.
Yeah, so my feet are tingling. I can't breathe. I'm like, I think I might just die. Like, I think this might be the end of it. I couldn't see straight. It was so I've had some bad tips back in the day.
Okay.
Not us though.
Would you
Only
recommend
good
Rachel
tips.
to pause in her head in this workout, or would you say, next time let's not do that?
I mean, she seems like she's doing fine. I don't think it's a big deal. Generally I try to like just get in and out. of that movement, kind of keep the time under tension pretty short. So normally I would just like bang it out and kick down. But I think she also said in her notes that like her heart rate got super high in that second part. So I don't think it was like
if it was a heart rate thing, then that would make more sense.
And I think that's what it was. She says my heart rate definitely elevated more in the second part. So she might have just been breathing so heavy. She's like, I just need to pause here for a second, which is what she was doing, just to make sure my breath rate doesn't get too high.
Yeah, there's things like that I've probably gotten a little bit less dogmatic about, just because I've seen athletes have success doing it different ways. You know, like for example, like probably 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh, never rest on your head doing handstand push-ups. But you know, if it's working for someone who has some decent experience, then like, yeah, go for it, right?
Yeah,
like
who cares?
I don't know. There's things hills to die on. Maybe that's not one of them. Like certain technique things just maybe don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, provided that the athletes, like I'm sure she's done thousands of handstand push-ups in her life, so it's not like she's like new to it and she's still figuring it out. Like she's obviously landed on that because it after many reps it feels okay.
Yep.
Like you have a little quirk, like everybody's got little quirky things. Like you do the wall ball asymmetrical.
Yeah, I catch it on my shoulder.
You do the Travis Mayer.
He does it like that?
Yeah.
He's
like
really freaking good. He's really good at wall balls.
That was like, I had a guy at the first gym I was at, and he comes up to me, he's like, you're snatching. You got the Rich Froning early arm bend in your snatch. It was like, such a like backhanded compliment in a way. I was like, you're snatching wrong, but Rich Froning snatch is wrong, so it's cool. Like
that was like the thing back in the day.
You got the Travis
like,
Mayer wall ball.
You got that Rich Froning early arm bend, and it's like,
no, bro. I just have an early arm bend.
It's all right. Oh man.
So yeah, there's no time cap on this workout.
You just suffer till you're done.
Yeah, suffer till you're done. You know, and the reality is with there not being one, that athletes will just choose to lighten up the loads if they think they're going to be at it for 45 minutes, right? Or like pick a slightly different variation of, you know, do 3 strict ring muscle ups or strict ring pull ups and then 3 kipping or something, right? Like figure out a way where you can keep it moving. I would say if you're going north of the 20-minute mark, that's probably where you want to start to thinking about potentially reworking your weights or your variations.
Yeah.
So that'd be approximately like what 2 minutes around, something.
Yeah,
like
20. Yeah, would be 2 minutes around.
Did she give us any other good notes? Or was that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it. I mean, just kind of what she felt. She said her weight, her with the weight changes, the time for both parts were almost the same, so she kept it pretty consistent. But what makes the workout unique is that the stimulus and the limiter is different, right? Like if you're slower in the first
shift halfway through.
Yeah, if you're slower in the first half, it's probably because your strict upper body pulling strength is not quite there. Because again, if the overhead squat weight's going to be an issue, then you should just go lighter. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's definitely people who can do that. Like even like me, like I'll do it RX, but it will significantly slow me down more for the overhead squat than it would for the pull up.
Right. And then the second part just becomes a little more engine based or upper body pushing muscle endurance.
Yep. Fairly simple, folks. CrossFit, there you have it. Thanks for watching today. Be sure to share this workout and take it on with some friends. If you want to learn more about how to optimize your performance for the sport of CrossFit, or if you're interested in hiring one of our coaches, head over to zorfitness.com. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. Best of luck on the workout, and as always, stay the course.